Hi there, it's Catrin from 3Ps. Welcome. Thanks very much for joining me. Now, this video is about how to build big muscles without being muscle bound. Now, obviously your goal, and if you're watching this video, is you want to be muscled, but maybe you are concerned about becoming rigid and sort of box-like and looking a bit like you know, guard nightclubs at night. I've got nothing against guys who guard nightclubs. Actually, I hope it's classic, but I do have a friend who does that for a living. But what I'm saying is if you are looking to not have that complete box-like looking to be more flexible in the way you move, but be big, can you achieve that, and how can you? Well, as a personal trainer that specialises in weights, I'm saying to you, yes, you can get big muscles without being completely muscle-bound. But the way you do that is to exercise in a particular way, which I'm going to explain over the next 5 or 6 minutes. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the way you lift weights and the plane of motion in which you lift weights. And then I'm going to talk about what extra you could do around weightlifting to avoid looking muscle bound. So let's get on with plane of motion. When you lift weights, you will have a preferred way of moving. It could be up and down, it could be forward and backwards, it could be, although it's very likely to be, anything which is in a twisting motion. So those are your 3 planes of motion. So let's start with up down. Up down is your classic, it's things like your squat, your deadlift, your shoulder press, for example, anything which moves up and down. There's a great plane of motion. It's what we use every day. Whenever we pick anything up and carry it, it's how we do it. The point is, if you find that you have a natural tendency towards that movement, you need to make sure you work in the other planes of motion, or you will be stiff and you will look rigid, because your body was meant to move in more than one plane of motion. So if you do a lot of up and downs, you do a lot of squats, for example, you need to make sure that you're also doing some weights that involve a back to front movement. Now, a back to front movement could be something like a lunge, or if you're lying on a bench prone, it could be something like a chest press, anything which it's this movement, okay? So it could be a push movement, it could be a pull movement. So it could also be things like a bent over row, any of those sort of back type machines that do this sort of movement. That moves you in this plane. So you then have now got 2 planes of motion you're moving into. You're moving up and down, and you're moving backwards and forwards. Now, the third plane of motion is implosion, which is a lateral plane, which is one where you move in a circular movement. Now, this is really crucial that you do weights in this plane if you want to maintain flexibility. If you want to move in a fluid way rather than a stiff way, then working exercises into that plane is really important. If you have a trainer who does weights, they should be thinking about this for you and making sure that you have exercises in that plane. And if they aren't, then you need to think about whether or not that's the right trainer for you. If you've got slightly bizarre exercises as part of your program, you're thinking, why am I doing that? Just check out what plane of motion they're in. They may have been added by your trainer to give you that flexibility. On this channel, I've done some weeks, a week of legs, a week of shoulders, a week of chest, a week of back. In all of those routines, I've included some lateral moves because of the importance of maintaining fluidity. In terms of particular equipment that you can use for lateral, then anything like a disc or a dumbbell or a Viper is really good for lateral. I particularly like Vipers. If you've not come across a Viper is like a big rubber tube. They come in different colours for different weights, and they have handholds. And the good thing about a Viper is you can lift it above your head and twist, for example. You can take it out in front of you and twist. When you're thinking about lateral movements, where you will feel it is you'll feel it in your obliques, and you may feel it in your lats. So when you're doing this type of movement, obviously you're going to feel it in your obliques. If you've got it above your head and twisting side to side, you may well feel it in your lats. So any sort of twisting movement done under control is really good for maintaining flexibility. So that's my advice in relation to how you build flexibility into your actual muscle building routine. The second thing I'm going to suggest, which you may bulk at, is adding into your exercise routine a bit of flexibility work. Now, what I'm going to suggest is either yoga or Pilates. Now, you may think that's a really girly girl thing to suggest, but it absolutely isn't. If you look at the god of personal training, god of bodybuilding, so Arnold Schwarzenegger, he used yoga and ballet, in fact, to learn flexibility. When he first came to London and competed in the Mr. Universe, he was as stiff as a plank, and it was very obvious on stage. He's a great height, but he just couldn't move with any fluidity. And he actually got some advice from a London couple who are weight trainers, and they taught him, first of all, to move to music, and second, they got him to do some yoga to try and loosen his body up so that he moved in a fluid way. I think the model that we should be going for as weight trainers is to move like a cat. If you look at a cat, they're very strong, but they're also very flexible. If you look at a cat's muscles, the muscles are strong, but when in relaxed mode, the muscles are not tight and stiff. They're very, very fluid. And that's what I think you should be looking at, because that will give you a great look, but also give you a grace in the way you move. And if you are in a job where you need to come across as non-confrontational, non-intimidatory, so for example, you work in a profession or you work in a caring profession, then obviously having muscle but having it in a non-intimidatory way is really important. If you want to bulk it up in the gym and go around looking like an ape in the gym, great. But when you're actually in your suit or you're in your casual clothing, then not looking like an ape I think is really important. Well, that's, you know, my job I think as a trainer is to help clients look big but not like apes. That's what they come to me for. So those are my suggestions for how you build muscle, big muscle, without getting muscle bound. If you want to leave a comment, it'd be great to hear from you below. You can also message us via the Facebook page at facebook.com/3Ps Media, and I'll put a link up here. You can also message me direct if you want to, and I'm on hello@3pspublishing.com. That's hello@3pspublishing.com, and you can, again, I'll put the link up there so you can get hold of me. It'd be lovely to have you. Please do press subscribe below here. Join us. This whole channel is around training, exercise, weights, motivation, mind, body, being the best you can be, or as the masthead here says, being you, only better. I'm not turning you into anybody else. It's you, but the best you can be. So please do join me. Press subscribe. Love to have you, and I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.